Another year, or another few years, and another Pirates of the Caribbean movie is out. Straight off the bat, I really love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The first movie is actually a really good movie. And man, I can consider that a classic for years to come. And then we got the sequels, which I honestly don't mind. They're actually some of the few bad movies that I can defend as being really good movies. Or at least I think they are. And at least I think the first two sequels are good. The fourth movie, directed by Rob Marshall, yeah, I can scrap that one off my list, if that makes sense. But yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are really fun, and I have so much fun just watching them. I can have a movie marathon with them all the time if I wanted to. I love the world, I love the characters, how the theme song in general is just amazing. Like it just gets you into the mood of Pirates of the Caribbean. But when I heard there was going to be a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, I didn't really feel all that interested about it. That's probably because the last Pirates of the Caribbean was back in 2011. So yeah, it's been a while, so I feel like it's just the franchise is a little rusty. And even though this movie has a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I was kind of going in and not knowing what to expect. And quite honestly, I enjoyed this movie. Now granted, it is not a perfect movie, and it has a ton of flaws, but nonetheless, watching the movie, I can't help but admit that I had a great time watching it. The action sequences alone are just crazy. They really feel like an actual roller coaster ride. Like going to a theme park and just being on the edge of your seat kind of thing. Honestly, I think the best thing about this movie are the new cast members. I really like the two new leads of this movie. Brendan Thwaites and Kalia Scodelario are really great together, and they really bring a lot of good chemistry, a lot of good charisma to the movie. If they're supposed to be the new faces of the new Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I'm okay with that because I really enjoyed them. I thought they were great. I think the best thing I can say about them is that they weren't annoying. Point is, they weren't the greatest characters, but they were really enjoyable, and I like seeing them on screen. Of course, the scene stealer, in my opinion, is Javier Bardem. He is just great for villains. Skyfall, No Country for Old Men, and now Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Yeah, the guy will own the role. I think the most interesting character, though, for me is Geoffrey Rush as Barbossa. I really like seeing how he's changed from the first movie to this movie. I really liked seeing him again as Barbossa. In fact, it's kind of funny because aside from Johnny Depp, he's the only other actor that's been in all 5 movies. Now, let's get, of course, to the person that everyone loves to see the most. Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp is, of course, back as Jack Sparrow, and you can't help but just love Jack Sparrow no matter what. That depends, though, of how much Jack Sparrow do you like. And of course, they go a bit of a different direction with Jack Sparrow this time around. It's not that different, but I do like what they do with him in terms of this story. Kind of like with the movie, it's been a while since Jack Sparrow has been at his prime, doing great things. Like he's losing his crew members, he doesn't really have a ship, and he is an alcoholic, which I think does explain his weird persona in this movie. I'll be honest though, I really did like the old Jack Sparrow from the other movies. They made him look a lot smarter. And in this movie, as well as the last movie, they really try to milk out Jack Sparrow. Everything that we love about Jack Sparrow being the funny, goofy pirate that we kind of see him as, but we kind of forget that he was a very smart character back then. In this movie, he's really silly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I still enjoyed a couple lines that he gave that were still funny. But it doesn't change the fact that his character has definitely decreased since the first movie. And that does lead to my next topic in the review, and that is all the problems that I had with the movie. Or at least the problems I think everyone else will have. First and foremost, this movie feels long. Now, I don't think it is long. It's only like a couple hours, only like 2 hours, like a normal movie. But there's so much going on. For me, it's not a bit of a problem because I enjoy long movies if they're fun. But I feel like for the general audience, you might get bored a couple times. There's gonna be a couple times where we're gonna feel like saying, alright, wrap it up, we need to go. The other thing I'll say too is that this is also the most cartoony of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Just the way some of the characters get out of some situations is just so random. Nonetheless, there's also a couple scenes in this movie that are just weird. There's particularly one scene that happens that just doesn't make any sense. I don't even know why it was written. But it happens, and I'm like, can we just get this over with so we can, get on with some other stuff that are, that's more interesting? So yeah, this movie is really random. There's just a bunch of stuff happening. But if you can just, turn off your brain and accept the fact that it's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you'll have a fun time. Which comes down to my verdict of the movie. For me, I do love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I'll defend them as much as I can. But I come to think about it as to like why a lot of people don't like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies as much as, me or other people. And maybe I don't want to accept it, but they're probably just my guilty pleasure the same way that the Transformers movie or the Twilight movies are guilty pleasure for other people. So when it comes down to it, I'll say that if you love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, you'll enjoy this movie too. As a fan, I'll definitely give this a higher rating, like a 9 out of 10, but when it comes down to it, I do have to admit there are a couple things about this movie that will totally throw you off, that really feel really weird. Yeah, there'll be a couple times when you'll be like, what just happened? So, at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and give Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man Tells No Tale a 7 out of 10. I really do think that it is the best out of the sequels, even if it's really cartoony. But if you love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies for what they are, then you'll enjoy this one too. And as much as I think the third movie was a better conclusion to the whole franchise, this is also a fine conclusion too that I'm okay with. I'm like, you know what? This is good. I can totally see the whole franchise ending here. If you like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, totally check this one out. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.